Let me, for example, go the big story. The Politico reported yesterday. This was the headline: Muslim barred from picture at Obama event. We'll get into more details later.
Right.
But the bottom line is 2 women in headscarves were barred from sitting behind the podium because they didn't want to appear in photographs or on television with the candidate. Now, this follows a story in the Carnegie Mellon University student newspaper that Jake Tapper had picked up, that Obama coordinators at an event were saying, oh no, we need to get more white people. That's a direct quote.
Look, I've been on sets. We all sit there over at another network and comment. Look at all those white folks behind Barack Obama and all the African-American folks behind Hillary. Sure, those things are set pieces. And the fact, I can understand they're very apprehensive over this thing going over the net, that he's a Muslim. They don't want the Muslim folks there, but that was sort of a nasty thing to do. And that's going to hurt him in Michigan because there's an Arab-American community out there, very strong, probably likes Barack Obama, is probably personally hurt by this, just as if they say threw 2 African Americans out of some sort of photo because they were black.
It sounds like it's a movie being orchestrated by Steven Spielberg, Pat, and I don't think most Americans know that all of this has taken place at campaign events with a lot of politicians, but there is manipulation of the American public and the images that they see. This is all marketing.
Well, this is what campaigns are about. Why do you think those consultants...
Yeah, but how
you know what shocks me, Pat? You know what shocks me about this? The only candidate to ever do this is Barack Obama, right? Nobody's ever done this before.
Look,
only Barack Obama.
But I'll tell you, I did see that ad, and it was I mean, he's the boy from Kansas, didn't you see? Little kid from Central Kansas.
What's wrong? That's something Pat Buchanan would have done for another candidate back in 1968.
Well, there's no doubt. We would put Nixon in these cozy settings and things like that and warm him up because we knew that if Nixon could come off as a nice guy, he would win the nomination.
And he did?
He did, and he won the election. Sure.
And it worked.
Yeah, what's wrong with it presented? There is that side to the guy.
And by the way, wasn't there a GOP convention where there were a lot of African Americans on the stage?
Yeah, there's a lot of funny jokes about that, but I'm not going to tell them. But you're right, 1990, it was 2000.
1990. 1990, or 2000.
No, it was 2000. Bush. Bill Maher had a comment about that. I'll tell you off camera.
Well, no, do all the good stuff on camera first. Come on. But there were more African Americans on the stage than there were actually in watching the actual.
But what they were trying to say, and there's nothing wrong with it, that look, this is the party of Lincoln. We're open to African Americans. They're welcome here. And if you got an impression we're hostile, that is false, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, if people would stop falsely saying Barack Obama is a Muslim, stop falsely saying his wife was never, ever proud of her country.
Then he wouldn't throw these little girls out of the
well, by the way, let me just point out, he did come up with a statement tonight. He said the actions of these volunteers, they were low-level volunteers, this is what Barack Obama said this evening, just a few hours ago, were unacceptable and in no way reflect any policy of my campaign. He also phoned the women involved, apologized to them.
No, don't believe that.
Don't believe that he apologized?
No, he apologized, but don't believe 2 low-level people did that. This is a strategic decision for what's going behind, what is the backdrop to Obama that the country sees. And they put people in there to send a message from the audience to the country. So I'm saying this was at a much higher level, and you know it was.
Well, was it at the level of the candidate? Or
My guess is the candidate sat in there and look, if he's had any meetings, strategy meetings after Hillary dropped out, I would have sat down and said, so we got a real problem. You're perceived as a radical. You're not middle American. They think you're a Muslim because they're putting out this stuff. And we got to get rid of that image or we're going to lose this election. And we want everything very much under control in terms of your setting.
All right, so when he comes out and says these actions were unacceptable and don't reflect my policy of the campaign, which is inclusion, he doesn't mean that?
All right. He does not, his people and he do not want a lot of women with headscarves behind him, giving off the appearance that he is the Muslim candidate.
All right, but you're also saying there's nothing wrong with that kind of positioning because it's done in every campaign and you've done it.
I don't have any problem with that, but it wasn't a nice thing to take 2 women and throw them out of the audience.
And he did call, and personally, as he did in the past,
because he's a very gracious guy, right?
Is he not?
I think he is.
Right. And
personally.
Do you think he's going to win?
I think he can win. I really do. I think he can win if he does just what I've suggested, is de-demonize himself to the extent getting away from all those people that pull him leftward. And if he can get in the middle in the American people, it's like Reagan in 1980. As long as Reagan could convince the American people that he wasn't dangerous, he wasn't loony, he was going to win the election because they wanted rid of Koran.
We continue with Pat Buchanan as we continue to talk about 2 Muslim women who say they were unwelcome at the event, which you're currently looking at, by the way, because of the headscarves. headscarves, and the Obama campaign is serving up apologies, as I just mentioned, but the women's families say some damage has been done. You're going to hear what they had to say coming up. Recent Barack Obama event in Detroit, 2 Muslim women wearing headscarves, as we just talked about, say they were refused seats behind the senator and in direct view of the cameras. The Obama campaign has since apologized, as I pointed out, but now a brother of one of the women is reacting to the incident.
We asked the guy if our sister can come, my sister, who wears an Islamic headscarf, and right when we told her that, she immediately shook her head and said, no, she can't come sit. They wanted to make sure, in my opinion, that no one will, correlate a Muslim girl in the back with him being Muslim. My reaction was, I was just saddened, and I thought it was an unfortunate event to occur at an Obama rally where he's talking about hope and change and new politics, and he's talking about unifying the country.
We now continue with the author of Churchill, Hitler, and the Unnecessary War, another bestseller from Patrick J. Buchanan. Let me just say, if John McCain had some image making and didn't appear in front of green screens in front of a handful of people, he could use a little image making himself in this campaign. He
could use a little image making, but the thing that was done there, when you take a young woman who's coming to a rally and sits down, and you say, get out because of who you are and what you look like, I think that's, that sounds very un-American, and I don't doubt Barack Obama knows that, and that's why he stepped up and apologized.
Yeah, absolutely right.